Uncut. Kwame cleared of national rum shop slapping. Crying pervert gets 21 years in prison. And relationship expert is still pushing his books after cheating on his wife. I am Noriko Bulford, and this is Uncut News. It's been weeks since Kwame was accused of slapping opposition rum shop member Tabitha Sarabo Haley. Well, after almost a month of investigating, Police Commissioner Nigel Hoppy said they aren't convinced that Kwame actually did it. According to Hoppy, the cops saw the tapes and they did see the two argue, but they didn't see a slapping. In response, House Speaker Mansour Nadir basically decided to dismiss the whole matter. As promised, the family and friends of the late Vanessa Lewis Sahadio have continued their protest. Today, they protested outside of the commissioning of a new healthcare centre in Port Morant in hopes of getting the government's attention. They are calling for criminal charges to be brought against the 3 negligent healthcare workers. The 2 nurses were suspended, while the doctor was reportedly sent back to Cuba. Indian company HPCL Mittal Energy has purchased 1 million barrels of Guyanese crude oil. According to the report, the cargo departed last month and marks the first oil shipment we've ever sent to India. It's set to arrive April 8th. Details of the sale remain sketchy, but the Natural Resources Ministry said that the oil had been originally allocated to Hess Corp, but they did know the identity of the ultimate buyer of the cargo. Since Guyana began exporting crude, its oil has flowed mainly to the United States, China, Panama, and the rest of the Caribbean. Yesterday, Barbados-based Guyanese businessman Hamnath Surendranath died in a Bajan prison on the day he was supposed to return to court. The first-time offender was on remand for nearly 2 weeks before he fell gravely ill and had to be hospitalized for another 2 weeks before eventually dying. On February 17th, the Guyanese businessman, who was operating there for more than 20 years, pleaded guilty to running a non-essential business during the pandemic. His plight ignited public debate over the treatment of those who breached the health directives, while his lawyer said the sad turn of events should signal the need for a gentler approach in dealing with the pandemic and issues surrounding it. Now it's time to tell you about Best Buy's car of the day. Currently on sale is this 2018 Suzuki Swift RS Sports Edition. It comes with Bluetooth, CD stereo, steering controls, crystal lights, mug rims, fog lamps, and much, much more. Pay cash for $3.6 million, or pay down as low as $720,000 with around $70,000 monthly, and it's yours. Call or WhatsApp 662-0844 for more info, or visit their showrooms at 171 Peter Rose Street, Queenstown, or Lot 2 Lamar Street, and tell them Noriko sent you for this sweet, sweet deal. Today, 31-year-old pervert Sahadio Puran cried uncontrollably when the magistrate slapped him with a 21-year sentence for raping a 12-year-old girl in September 2019. According to reports, Puran did not show any signs of remorse throughout the trial. However, during the sentencing, he cried like a baby seeking the court's mercy while maintaining his innocence. Sahadio, Lord have mercy on your soul, 'cause the boys in prison won't have mercy on your whole. Ha-ha! This morning, 24-year-old accused fraudster Micah Sonoram got slapped with an additional 3 fraud charges. In February of this year, he was originally charged with fraud after he failed to deliver heavy-duty imports to his clients. Now, he's being charged with fraudulently converting over 8.5 million Guyana dollars for his personal use instead of using it to buy the vehicle and the 2 excavators he was supposed to acquire for his clients. He was released on $30,000 bail and will return to court March 31st. According to the United Nations, Guyana harvests close to 20,000 tons of Atlantic sea barb per year, making us the world's largest producer of the popular species of shrimp. According to them, the industry is worth US $50 million, and it's poised for further growth due to the increased international attention we've been receiving. Locally, the industry includes 87 licensed trawlers and 305 small fishermen, as well as processing facilities. The 3 largest processing facilities employ some 1,600 individuals, 45% of whom are women. Taking this into account, the Organization of African, Caribbean, and Pacific States is expected to soon provide funding to help enhance the productivity of the nation's fisheries. You can multiply your cash by selling Digicel Top-Up. This is a legit way you can earn some extra money at your business or to supplement your existing side hustle. Become a top-up vendor quick and easy through Cellular Plus. Call them on telephone number 685-3109 for more info. Now it's time for today's Rona Report. Today, the nation recorded 88 new cases. There are now 220 persons dead and 12 persons in the ICU with 900 home isolation patients. Now, I hope you've noticed all of these numbers are steadily increasing, including the final number, which is 9,820 confirmed cases in the nation so far. So you hear that? We have almost reached 10,000. So with that in mind, wash your hands frequently. Avoid touching your nose and mouth and mask up before you leave the house. When you do leave home, try to avoid enclosed spaces and large crowds. And remember to give 6 feet of space between you and others. Now, let's take a look at news in the region. Dancehall artist Tommy Lee Sparta pleaded guilty today to illegal possession of a firearm and ammunition and was sentenced to 3 years in prison. He received 3 years for the gun and 2 years for the ammunition charge. These sentences will run concurrently. Tommy Lee Sparta's conviction followed several run-ins with the law over the last 6 years. So they finally got him on something. Robbery season might be over, but the streets are still mean. If I were you, I would consider getting security for the home or business. I personally recommend Sheriff Security Service. I find that they are the most professional, with well-trained armed or unarmed guards. Get some security, people. In Barbados, last night the police found 75-year-old Kelvin Soka Wilkinson, who was reported missing since last Saturday. Wilkinson was rescued from the bottom of a 20-foot well in St. Michael. He was taken to the hospital and said to be very dehydrated with abrasions about his body. But nevertheless, Soka, you live to fet another day. And now for our weird news story of the day. Social media relationship guru Derek Jackson has made headlines recently for responding to cheating allegations against him. In a nearly 30-minute YouTube video, the best-selling author said he and his wife had unofficially separated around early February 2020 and admitted to the encounter occurring in July. He also hinted that there may have been other affairs as well. But, like any famous man who has let his willy be his downfall, Jackson sat next to his wife as he laid it all out. But here's where things got even weirder. The man is known for his reaction videos. So, following the firestorm his confession video started, he actually then went and made a reaction video to his own confession, referring to himself in the third person and applauding himself for taking accountability, and on that same reaction video, he left a link sending you to purchase his latest relationship book. He and his wife have since reconciled, and while she forgives him, she is definitely not accepting any more blow in the future. Nor am I accepting any advice from him, to be honest. If you own one of the best diesel engines in the world, then the name Cummins is very familiar to you. But even the best engines need spare parts, am I right? Powered Automotive Truck Spares and Engine Parts at 1161 EE Eccles stocks Cummins engine parts for 6PT and 6CT engines and much more. Call the WhatsApp 697-0171 or follow Powered Automotive Truck Spares and Engine Parts on Facebook. Moving on to our Uncut News Views Poll question of the day. Every day we pose a question about current events in the nation, the region, the diaspora, and how you feel it relates to us. So, you give your responses in the comments, and we'll read the best ones in the following episode. Yesterday's question was, should politicians be required to compensate the state for lost goods? Royston Wilson said, ministers should compensate all misused funds. Yes, it belongs to the state. Adrian Walton said, the Minister of Health don't buy drugs. The Minister of Health don't even know what is on the drug formula list or what a drug formula list looks like on the ordering of drugs falls under the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Health. And like all ministers, they aren't involved in the day-to-day operations of the ministry. All ministers do is formulate policies. It's the permanent secretaries who run the ministry. You never watched Yes Minister? LOL. You're exactly right. Thank you for that lesson in parliamentary democracy. Kurt Beckles says, Dorico, like I fed up, boy. Every time I see news about the government wasting stuff, it pisses me off. There should be some kind of code of conduct that these public officials have to follow while in office? Why is it that in the land of so many corruption, not waters but corruption, not a single politician has ever been convicted? This land is blessed with location and natural resources, but cursed by bad leaders. And I'm not speaking of the executive alone. I'm referring to all three branches of government. What a biased bunch of self-centered and unpatriotic bosses, not leaders, we have to put up with in this place. My gosh, Kurt, you really just described my feelings wholeheartedly. Nevertheless, for tonight's question. On this show, I often talk about the negatives that the government has done. But now I want to know, what ministry do you feel has actually been making great strides since August 2020? Think about that question and tell us in the comments below. If your response is good enough, we just might include it in our next episode. Anyway, that's all the time we have for tonight. Check us out tomorrow for another. Until then, I'm Rico Bulford saying good night, folks. Hey, Uncut News viewers, thanks for watching. You can subscribe by clicking on this button over here, or click over there for more news. You can also drop a comment to let me know if you've made it to the end of the video. Goodbye for now.